everybody. So today I have a very special video for you. I'm really excited about it. I am covering What Calls the Heart over on Hallmarkies podcast, and we started season 9 last week, and we started talking about some of the people that are watching When Calls the Heart that don't like the show anymore and that just complain about the show, kind of hate watching. As far as like the hate watchers, I don't really understand that. Like there's so many shows there's just a never ending supply of shows. You watch The Chosen, that's a great Bible-based show.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many shows. If you don't like the show, that's perfectly fine. Watch something else.
Exactly. I agree.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's like when not liking something becomes your personality, then I just, that's not a good space to be in. There's this idea that they have to watch it in order to support family content. And even some of the creators of the show have said that, as if this is the only show on television that is family content or traditional values. And I just disagree with that. There's so many shows. And so I thought I mentioned some on the show, but I thought it would be fun to kind of talk about some shows that they could watch if they don't want to watch One Calls the Heart anymore. I kind of divided my recommendations into 3 categories. I have the G-rated, PG-rated category, very clean. I have the PG-13 with like a little more content. And then I have some R-rated recommendations for people that like the romanticism of When Calls the Heart, but aren't as tied to the traditional moral content of One Calls the Heart. So I feel like I have something for everybody, that if you either don't like One Calls the Heart anymore, or you still like One Calls the Heart and you want some other recommendations, here we go. Here's what I have. I think first, you have most content on PBS is going to be fairly family friendly. If you are insecure, if you're unsure about a particular show, then you should look on the parental guides on IMDb and other places, and then make your choices. Don't take my advice, because we all have different standards and different values as far as what we want on screen. So I think that starting out on PBS, you have All Creatures Great and Small. They just finished the 2nd season. This is about James Herriot and his adventures as a Yorkshire vet in the 1940s, and his boss and his boss's brother, Tristan and Siegfried. So much fun, such great characters, great romance with Helen. I know that anybody that loves One Calls the Heart would love All Creatures Great. Then we have Call the Midwife, which is a show about midwives in the 1950s and 60s in London. And it has some obviously birth depictions in pretty much every episode. But other than that, they've had that on One Calls the Heart as well. So I think that if you like When Calls the Heart, you'd enjoy Call the Midwife. Then we have on Up TV, we have Heartland. And Heartland, we've been recapping on Hallmarkies podcast. We're up to season 10. They're starting season 15 this month. So if you want a good show about a family, and if you love animals, then Heartland would be a great option. It tells the story of Amy Fleming, who is kind of a horse whisperer, and each episode is they get kind of a disease of the week with a particular horse, and she has to try to work with them. Plus there's her whole family and all the other ranchers at Harlan Ranch. Then we have content on Disney Plus. And for the most part, Disney Plus is pretty family friendly. But one show I really enjoyed on Disney Plus is Big Shot. It's been renewed for season 2. This went under the radar. A lot of people didn't hear about it or didn't see it. It's about John Stamos. He is a coach, and a basketball coach. He ends up coaching this girls' high school team. They do a really good job with the writing for the high school students and for the coach. The acting's really good. This went under the radar, like I said. Then there's Mighty Ducks Game Changer. Stars Lauren Graham. She has a son who didn't make the team, and so he starts his own team of hockey players, and then they end up getting Gordon Bombay to coach this new team. And then we have High School Musical, the musical series. Even if you are not a big fan of the original High School Musical, there's a lot to like about this. Obviously, the music is incredible, the singing, but also it has good stories, especially EJ and Gina. They were my favorite by far in season 2. And we have season 3 coming up soon, where they're going to be doing Frozen. I'm really looking forward to that. Then we also have The Secrets at Sulphur Springs. This is a boy and his family moving into supposedly haunted haunted hotel and on the edge of a small town. I've heard really good things about this one. I have not seen that one, but I've heard it's a lot of fun. Another good channel that you should check out if you're looking for family-friendly content is BYU TV. You don't have to be a Latter-day Saint to enjoy BYU TV. It's basically another version of Hallmark Channel. So I would definitely take a look over there, both for movies and for shows. And they have a couple different shows that are still going right now. They have Studio C, which is a great comedy show that's very clean, really funny skits. I think you'll enjoy that. Holly Hobby, and this is about a girl who is a musician, and her father gets in an accident and ends up in a wheelchair. And so she's trying to figure out a way they can support her family. I haven't seen this show, but I've heard really good things, that it's very sweet. And we also have on BYU TV, we have The Chosen. That is a really great show that you can watch on a lot of different platforms. They have their own app. And this tells the story of Jesus from the Bible. And they just finished up season 2. They're going to be starting season 3. And this is the best faith-based product I've ever seen. The quality of the acting, the production, the storytelling, it's excellent. And it will make you feel like you've spent time with Jesus as a real person who laughed at jokes and who, played with kids and things like that. So this is a great show. If you're looking for Bible-based content, it doesn't get better than The Chosen. Another one that I thought of that other people might not necessarily think of is actually Doctor Who, which you can watch on BBC in America. And they've had 13 doctors, and they do a lot of episodes that go back into history where the doctor interacts with historical figures. They've had ones like Tesla, Dickens, Rosa Parks, Mary Shelley, a ton of different ones. They always have them every season. And I think those episodes, especially fans of When Calls the Heart, will really enjoy. Now we're going into sort of our PG-13 content, medium content. And I'll start with Sweet Magnolias. This has the small town feel of When Calls the Heart that I think people will enjoy. The friendship between the 3 leads is really wonderful. The teen storylines are excellent, well done. It does have some content, some steaminess, but it's pretty tame in my opinion. Then Virgin River has more content, I think, than there's more like tension, but then there's more tension than Sweet Magnolias. And it didn't have a great 3rd season. It got a little ridiculous, but I still think it's worth watching. Great cast, a lot of Hallmark talent you'll see come in and out of there, which is fun. And it definitely gets that small town feel that you want if you're a When Calls the Heart fan. Then another show I thought of is Young Sheldon. This is on CBS, and this is a family show that goes into the backstory of Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory and his struggles as a kid who doesn't really fit in and has communication issues. Then we have Saved by the Bell, which when I first heard that this was going to be on Peacock, I thought, oh, that sounds terrible. And then I watched it and it was actually really well done, really well written, good stories, good acting. It's probably an improvement upon the original show, to be honest. Then we have The Wonder Years. This is a very sweet kind of spin-off, really, more than a remake of the original show. It's set in Alabama. It has a Black cast, and it's very charming. This Is Us. That's a show I actually haven't seen, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. And I know that it is very focused on family, and that's why a lot of people love it. The Gilded Age just came out. I've only watched part of it, so I can't say that it doesn't about content. I think it's pretty tame, but this is from the creator of Downton Abbey. So if you're a fan of that, but it's set in America. Found it a little dry, to be honest, but still, if you're looking for something to watch, I think it's okay. Sanditon, which I wasn't a big fan of, particularly the ending of season 1. I haven't watched any of season 2 yet, but I still think that for the most part, When Calls the Heart fans will enjoy Sanditon. That's on PBS. And then I talked with my friend Sui from K-Pop Converters about some K-dramas that she could recommend, because most K-dramas are very clean. There's some that have the tension and get maybe a little scary at times, but most of them are clean as far as sensuality, very chaste. I think they would be a good way to go if you were looking for new shows to watch. Here are some that my friend recommended. There's Healer, and this is one of her favorites, she said, and the description is: a fighter posing as a night courier agrees to protect a tabloid journalist whose investigation into a long-buried tragedy makes her a target for assassination. And then True Beauty is a favorite. And this is about a high school girl who transforms herself into a gorgeous goddess and quickly rises to fame after mastering the art of makeup via online tutorial videos. So that one sounds kind of fun. And then Shopping King Louis. This is an heir used to shopping away his grief, finds himself trapped in Seoul with no memory and no one to help him except a sweet rural girl who teaches him the value of life without money. And then we have Pinocchio, and this is about a girl who has Pinocchio syndrome, it's called, which causes her to hiccup whenever she tells a lie. That's funny. And then the last one is Romance is a Bonus Book. We actually covered this over at Hallmarkies podcast when I had Sui on for a episode on K-dramas, and we talked about this show. And it's about a woman who is divorced and trying to get back into the workforce and finding it really, really difficult. And I enjoyed it. It was my first K-drama I'd ever seen. Let's talk about some shows that are in the past that you could still watch that are on streaming services. I'm going to go through these very quickly. So let's start with Good Luck Charlie. This is a great Disney show, probably the best Disney Channel show they ever made. I think it's really good, about a family with a new baby and teenage children. Then we have Little House on the Prairie. Of course, that's iconic. Most people that are into When Calls the Heart will have enjoyed the show, but I think it really is a better show than given credit for. It really tackles some tough topics. It's way more edgy than the reputation would imply. Then we have Dr. Quinn, Medicine Women. This also definitely has a lot of feel for When Calls the Heart. If you enjoy it, I'm sure you'll enjoy Dr. Quinn. Heart of Dixie, also small town kind of feel. Men in Trees, another small town kind of feel. This is a little bit more racy, but it's on network television, not too bad. I love that show. Of course, you have Once Upon a Time on Disney Plus. This is an older show. It's not a current show, but I think that it really will appeal to a lot of When Calls the Heart watchers. They probably already are or were watching both. This, of course, dives into the world of the Disney fairy tales, dive into these Disney worlds and your story. Timeless is another show that When Calls the Heart fans will definitely like. The romance, it's kind of similar to Doctor Who in certain ways. So that one would be a good one. Lark Rise to Candleford. This was a PBS show based on Ellen Montgomery. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. Downton Abbey, of course, which does have some content, but it's definitely got that old romantic feel of When Calls the Heart. Then we have Parenthood, which was a really well acted, well written show. It definitely had some content, but it's on NBC. It's not too bad, but it's a really good show about families and a family and the ebb and flow of the family. We have The Crown, which is on Netflix. Of course, it's about the royal family. It definitely has that sort of feel, romantic feel of When Calls the Heart on a way bigger budget, of course. But yeah, I think that a lot of people that like When Calls the Heart would enjoy The Crown. You have Christie, which starred Kelly Martin. Of course, they ended on a horrible cliffhanger, which you never get resolved because it got canceled, but it's still a really, really good show and very When Calls the Heartian. Cranford is another show based on the Elizabeth Gaskell books. There's actually 2 miniseries of it. It has an incredible cast, including Judi Dench, and it's very funny, witty. Yeah, it's great. You also have the shows that Martha Williamson wrote. You've got Signed, Sealed, Delivered and Touched by an Angel. And I think that you can watch Touched by an Angel on Hallmark Drama. There's also The Waltons, which hopefully they will do that remake because I really enjoyed the movie that they had over the Christmas holidays. We are going to now talk about some of the more R-rated shows that I think people that are up for that kind of content and like When Calls the Heart might like these shows. The romantic feel and the other attributes that make it somewhat similar to me. So we have Bridgerton. I think that's a big recommendation. It is very steamy, so definitely not for the traditional crowd, but very well done. Great chemistry. a well done story that it's about a family in the end, about two families, really, the Featheringtons and the Bridgertons, and their various exploits. Each season talks about a different member of the Bridgerton family, and the new season starts soon, and I think y'all really enjoy it. Then we have Outlander, and this is about a woman from 1945 who is swept back into 1743. And I've only watched a couple episodes because I just haven't had time, but I really thought it was very engaging. So I look forward to one of these days catching up on Outlander. They just started the new season just a week or so ago. Then we have Poldark, and this show is about a man who comes back from the American Revolutionary War to find out his family, his wife, his life is kind of moved on without him, and what's he going to do? And of course, our lead in this is extremely hunky, and so I think people would enjoy it. We have The Great, and this is definitely, I've heard, very saucy, very steamy about Catherine the Great, but I've heard that it's a really, really good show. Nicholas Hoult, Elle Fanning. So if that sounds like something that might interest you, I think is probably worth a shot to watch The Great. And finally, this might seem like a strange suggestion. I would suggest Ted Lasso. And because Ted Lasso, yes, it's not a period piece like these other suggestions, but it is so positive. It is so life affirming. It will make you feel good about your life. It does conquer like tough topics, and it gets very real at times. But I absolutely love the writing. I love the characters. It does have a lot of swearing. That's the main reason. There's like a little bit of other content, but the swearing is the main reason it would be considered rated R. But I just love the show. So I think somebody who wants like a really positive show, like When Calls the Heart is, would enjoy Ted Lasso. So there we go. That is all the shows that I thought of for people who like When Calls the Heart. Let me know what are other suggestions they would have. There are so many shows. There's no reason to watch something that you don't like just for some like moral value. There's an unending number of shows. So if something's not working for you, watch something else. Or if something is working for you, then find out other shows that you can watch and have more stories told to you. It can only improve your life to have more stories told to you. So if you have other suggestions, please let me know, and let me know what you think of my suggestions. And please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out the Hallmarkies podcast. We put so much work into that, and I really love it. I'm very proud of it. We have interviews, we have recaps. Please take a look at that. And then also, please, if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. And if you are watching YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group and merch store where there's tons of When Calls the Heart merch. So take a look at that. In the Patreon group, it's so important. It's the #1 way you can support me in what I do, and it means so much to me. So thank you so much, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.